Reblog if you have more than the depth of a fictional character. If you do not reblog this, you are in fact lying.
Every idol group thinks that their fans are the best, but honestly, Monster X is actually right every time they say it. Monster X are good people. This is what they deserve.
I'm so disappointed in the Hamilton fandom. Everyone keeps saying that Alex would wear Heelys when clearly the one obsessed with Heelys would be Thomas Jefferson. I mean,
Harry Potter characters that would vote for Trump in 2016, but not 2020. You guys may fight me out.
You can shift into any reality you desire, as we live in a multiverse. Fictional worlds are real. So are animes.
Never not be mad at Voltron and its representation. I want to fight.
Do not interact with me if you support this Minecraft YouTuber in any way, shape, or form.
Yes, I support Woojin, because there's no proof. If you're uncomfortable, then unfollow me.
A reminder that if you like or support Husband Hotel, please unfollow
If you
me.
read duplicity, unfollow me.
Defending Harry Styles online is not enough. I need a gun.
I feel a lot of people make a leap from the diamonds could have been handled better to Steven Universe's Nazi apologia without any attempt at all for nuance or critical thought.
Remember back when there was such a thing as a casual fan? Yeah, me neither. These days it seems like high-key fandoms are everywhere. Maybe you remember hearing about that K-pop fandom app that lets you pay real money to receive a fake phone call from your K-pop idol. Maybe you've heard about the kids over on TikTok trying to reality shift their consciousness into Hogwarts. Or maybe you've had the misfortune of witnessing any pro-shipper v anti-shipper discourse on Twitter. Maybe you've had the same thought as me. Has fandom become more intense? Or just more visible? Fandom can definitely be said to have undergone a process of mainstreaming due in part to the advent of social media, and nowhere is this more visible than on Netflix Instagram. Hiya, I'm Cass, and I'm partway through my dissertation on Netflix and how they embody a fan persona on their original series Instagram accounts. If you've ever been exposed to any online fan community, you may find the Instagram accounts for Netflix original series eerily familiar. Scrolling through the Netflix-run accounts for popular originals reveals fanish slang, compilations of favorite couples, ship names and fan art, not to mention countless jokes and memes. So Netflix is jacking the style of fan speak on their social posts. Do we care? Companies have been trying to sound like one of the kids over on Twitter for a while now, with often mixed results. When brands adopt this casual voice on social media, it's usually because they're trying to appeal to their target market. The target market for Netflix, even in the English-speaking world, is very broad. So isn't it a bit strange that the persona they've decided to go with is kind of a huge nerd? Not everyone is that obsessed with the shows they watch, are they? Well, I looked into it and I have a theory. No one is supposed to be a casual viewer of a Netflix original series. If you're like me, and I don't mean an idiot with an undergrad degree, I do mean a pop culture person, you may have at times wondered about Netflix's simultaneous distribution model. Haven't we all? Netflix original series are released in their entirety all at the same time. So wouldn't that mean that people will just watch it all in like a week and then move on, not care about it anymore? Well, studies on the psychological effects of binge viewing have found that it increases the emotional intensity of the viewing experience and makes viewers more likely to invest heavily in the events of the show. In other words, if you did watch it all in a week, you're likely to care about it a lot. Interestingly, binging also makes you less likely to actually remember what all happened in any great detail. Was it superbly written? Was it amazingly original? Was the plot free from any gaping plot holes? You might not remember the facts, but you'll remember how you felt about it. Your facts become the feelings. Ben Shapiro is shaking. Of course, Netflix can't actually force you to binge watch anything, but I would say it's somewhere between enabled and encouraged. It's not just the fact that all the episodes come out at once or even that they autoplay. There's a lack of recaps in Netflix originals. They don't even tend to do that Downton Abbey style, as you know, in the last episode, to sort of remind the viewer what's happening. The plots tend to be narratively complex, and there also tend to be a lot of characters. On top of this, the Netflix-run Instagram accounts that I'm studying tend to normalize binge viewing practices themselves, as if to say, don't worry, that's normal. Everybody does that. It's the correct way to watch the show. So perhaps it's no surprise that Netflix and binge viewing have become all but synonymous. So Netflix originals are designed to be binge viewed, and binge viewing increases the strength of feeling around a show. There's also another factor, which leads me to everybody's most favorite post-pandemic word, parasocial. I'm arguing here that Netflix doesn't want viewers as much as it wants fans, so why might that be true? Well, if you're running a subscription-based business model, then you need a relationship with your consumer over time. Parasocial relationships with media personae are perceived or symbolic relationships which mimic an interpersonal relationship functionally, but are one-sided. Studies have shown that binge watching makes people more likely to develop parasocial relationships with media characters. If you are a fan of the show, you might finish it and then head to the socials to see some extra content, and if you do, you'll be greeted with this Spanish voice who seems to love the show and the characters just as much as you do, who also binge watched it, who stayed up all night making fan works. So the feelings around the show are fed and validated by this persona, which is fan-like in nature, but also has unrivaled access to the content from the show and the actors, not to mention your data. So essentially, Netflix runs the biggest and best fan accounts for its own shows, which it also produces, distributes, and holds the exclusive rights for in the most impressive display of vertical integration since Pablo Escobar. By posting in this way, these accounts have endeared themselves to the fan communities on Instagram. Far from being perceived as advertising or marketing, fans are actually grateful for these accounts' presence. It is possible for people to develop parasocial relationships with brands as well. I'm just saying. The thing about Netflix originals is they only ever exist on Netflix. It's not going to come out on DVD. You can't watch it on television or anywhere else, at least not legally. Netflix has exclusive access to this content and these characters. If the platform succeeded in creating a parasocial relationship between itself and the consumer, then it may be the case that that consumer feels like they can never cancel their subscription without losing a friend. On Instagram, Netflix has perfectly mastered that unthreatening tone of voice, so they don't sound like a billion-dollar multinational with untold amounts of personal data on you. Sound like a weeb. Is this a good thing? I don't know. I don't study morals, I study memes. But I think it's worth keeping my eye on for now. I'll let you know what I find out.